on to the next round. The loser is out because it's single elimination, but let's get in. There are 3 duels taking place at the same time. Here we are with one. It is Fikt versus Rikape.
That is true. We have BOB versus SPP. You can see that there is a Malice Dormouse already resolving at Duel B while we still have thinking time on the main table.
A pass?
The thinking time wasn't used very well because we pass it over. And Fikt, of course, not too uncommon of a name in Challenger Cup competition. We've seen him win plenty of cups in the past, but that is not the start that they wanted. And look at that, Ibris.
I like it.
Yeah, our mascot of the season, basically.
Yep, the Challenger Cup Summer Monster Mementotlan Anguich there gracing the field for Rikape, being followed off by the Tatsu no Toshigo.
Perfectly pronounced there.
I read along with it, fortunately.
That's fine, that's fine. And interestingly enough, also on Duel C, we see Unchained cards being in there as well. So we see all kinds. I love that we have 3 duels at the same time.
Simultaneous Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring resolving is kind of painful, but at the same time, it seems to not have phased SPP because Called by the Grave comes down for Rikape to run interference on that. It will stop the interrupt, and it means that now Rikape can proceed with the Memento combos. And once the Mementos access the extra deck, you know, you kind of have to consider that the game is maybe rapidly approaching a point where there's no coming back for the opponent.
Just in case you are confused, that Called by the Grave only negates the Ash Blossom from Victinium here and not the Ash Blossom on the other table as well. And therefore, it is only going to be dealing with that. But there we see the Mementotlan Gatic going into the graveyard, and that's where it wants to be, because when it does go into the graveyard for a card effect, we can just bring it back. And now the on-summon effect is going to bring back that Sleepy that was sent alongside itself.
I do wonder how many disruptions Victinium started with when in his hand here, because that instant pass kind of hinted that perhaps we had a lot of interruptions to the opponent's turn, but not too many in terms of starters or opportunities to commit on our turn. Speaking of the Memento deck accessing the extra deck, I believe this is a fusion summon now, and we should expect to see the Twin Dragon now come down for Rikape.
I mean, one thing that's immediately pretty tough for Victinium, I feel like, is there is no Maxi and also none of the Charmies. I would have expected him, when he just passes like that, to really have some of that, but none of that is available. And I mean, with the Charmies, maybe they don't share Maxi. You never know, right? Maybe that is none of their share cards, so some other teammate has the Maxi. You never know. And in the meantime, Rikape is continuing to play. And I think one card that Victinium might really need here could be the Nibiru, the Primal Being, because that could be the lifeline.
Combined Creation should come out soon, and then the Creation King will be soon to follow. And honestly, a lot of the time I see that the Memento monsters use their effects to allow the higher leveled ones to attack directly. As it turns out, when the opponent has no monsters, you can attack directly anyway, so I am anticipating a big commitment from Rikape here. But 4 mystery cards in hand for Fikt. Did not use any of them on that first turn. Do you have anything here, Fikt?
Bone Party also resolving, destroys now that big 5,000 attack point monster in the hand to probably special out the Mementotlan Maze. And at this point, we're collecting so many different Memento names in the graveyard. Not even the Nibiru would look too tempting here, because I feel like at this point we just have so many, so we could maybe summon it out another time, because you not only can summon it out once per turn, but twice per turn, actually, or as many times as you have materials still left to fusion to bring it out.
There is the fusion, so I imagine we will see the Mementotlan Combined Creation.
Yes.
Creation King? Or Mementotlan Tekutlika Creation King, rather.
That is exactly its name, and it has hit the field now, and we may have used 3 cards from the graveyard to shuffle back, but we can just immediately get 3 new into the graveyard with the summon effect, and that's what we do. Akihiron was one of them, and it is just looking very, very, very pretty for Rikape. Sometimes you would expect, maybe if Victinium doesn't have anything here anymore, you would expect him to just maybe concede. But due to the 3v3 nature, right now maybe he doesn't even worry that much about his own game anymore, but instead just like he's communicating with his teammates about what to do there and helping them out. And therefore it's always interesting to see those developments. And also, one thing you have to consider is we're playing a best of 9, so there's way more games to be played. maybe he just wants to see what other cards are in the deck of Rikape, so for the next games, these guys are aware so they can play around them properly. You never know. There we just saw an Aniteckzetto resolving at Duel B. Therefore, that is not super standard of a card to see anymore at the moment, so interesting information to have.
I see a Nibiru and quite a few Ryziel cards, so I imagine that this duel is also going pretty well for Victinium's teammate.
I do agree, and there is a Fiendsmith Tract activated at Table C as well. And, ooh, I think there is a response window right now for Victinium, because we are not having that yellow box of the
think we
language.
crested past 5 summons quite a while ago.
For sure.
Yeah, I look to be in an okay position.
This is a weird one to be thinking about now, though, because what we're trying to do right now here is just destroy one monster on the field to bring back a level 2 monster. And now, finally, we have decided to allow that. The Goblin is going to come back, and I think one cool thing now as well is we can trigger the Aki Huron, of course, as well. And if there is another low-level monster in the graveyard, we could have also triggered the field spell, the Memento Miklan, but no, that was not the case. Okay.
They can attack directly now.
Yes.
They could anyway.
Yeah. I mean, still, but now, if a Nibiru comes down, for example, that would still, even after the Nibiru, allow you to attack directly. That can still be relevant here. Now we activate the Goblin effect to send 2 more Memento cards from the deck to the graveyard. And cool enough, we destroyed the Aki Huron for that, meaning the graveyard effect of it will also now activate, adding back 1 Memento card from the graveyard or from the banishment. And we choose the latter. And we also now activate the effect of Memento Miklan. This just looks perfect for a Rikape. And I'm wondering, was it a bluff from Victinium that he was thinking about there? Because it really gave some Nibiru vibes there, but there was no real reason to use Nibiru there, necessarily. Okay, Fusion back into the hand. We see there was the Nibiru, but play went back on table B as well. So after the Nibiru, the game was not over yet.
Oh! Winter Cherries. Okay, so you buy yourself one more turn, maybe?
Not necessarily. We can banish 1 card from our extra deck now, or we reveal it, and then our opponent has to banish all copies from that. Okay, we banish Aspinall Knight. I think Rikape can live with that, honestly. That is a card you do not want to draw going first. That is for sure. And I mean, we probably don't even have a real target for Memento in our extra deck, besides that Aspinall Knight, which is really not that big of a problem here for Rikape in the end. I'm wondering why Victinium would activate that there, to be honest, because that is a huge information to see. When you know your opponent does have Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries in their deck, I feel like you can play some very different lines, honestly.
For sure, and you also have to contextualize the fact that now Victinium's future opponents on this team know that he is running them.
Exactly.
But that being said, it does give access to the Dark monster in the graveyard for the Dark Charmer, Gloomy to steal, and then again you can link them off and access a rank 3.
A link 3, and I think it's going to be Celine. Yeah, Celine. And that's usually just a very, very easy way to go into Access Code Talker eventually, essentially.
So the old combo when Crystron Hauke Fibrax was around was you used to get back the Effect Veiler with the Hauke Fibrax, and you'd link them off into Celine, the Queen of the Master Magicians. Celine would then activate her effect to bring back the Effect Veiler, and then you would link off into the Access Code Talker, as you mentioned.
That works as well,
of the Bow of the Goddess actually now offers insurance against the Nibiru, the Primal Being, and that does spell doom for Fict here, as he is knocked down by Rikape to open up this game. SPP take game 1 in this back and forth duel. Now, Malice in Underground is on the field. Malice cards are on the field, but facing down a Ryziel and a Nibiru, the Primal Being.
I mean, that doesn't look too bad for SPP either. So we have survived the turn after the Nibiru and all the Ryziel monsters were on the field, and now action is on the Malice player on Gengi for Team SPP. So things are looking good, and I feel like just looking at the names of the players, BOB would be the more known team, just going by the names, because they have players that have won Challenger Cups before. I also know Spectre, for example, here on that team. And the team SPP is a little more unknown in terms of that, but as we can clearly see, they're doing very well here.
Yep, being able to bring out the Chessy Cat now. The Malice continues to extend 1,500 on the life points. Looks a little bit dicey, but at the end of the day, it's more than 0. It's within the Malice comfort zone, and so is the extra deck and this extra link monster. Going to access the Malice Q White Binder and banish a couple of cards from the graveyard. You can disrupt the opponent, or you can banish from your own graveyard and trigger some of these special summoning effects to then Link climb further.
Yeah, definitely going to do the latter here because we are just trying to get our monsters going even more so because there is no disruption needed right now. And I think we have just seen Access Code Talker, or we talked about Access Code Talker, then did not see it because they decided for Appaloosa. This time around, though, I think Access Code Talker might be a really, really handy way to possibly end this duel here, which would mark a 2-0 lead for Team SPP. You said 1,500 life points is more than 0. Yup, that is true. But for a Malice player, that is getting pretty dicey because you always have to pay life points to activate your effects, of course. And you want to activate another link-free effect, like the White Binder and the Banishment, you get down pretty significantly at some points. That is now a Link 1, linking off the White Binder to go into Link Disciple. What are we planning with that? Is that... Oh, yeah, I think that is our way into Access Code Talker. We just wanted to have another attribute in the graveyard with a light monster there.
To get additional removal for the Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker, of course, going to come through. 5,300 attack, but it's going to be reduced a little bit here. 5,100 still pretty good, and it does mean we have access to as much removal as we need to then clear out this field. Do you go for the face down? Yes, you do. And then you go for the Ryzeal and the Nibiru, and then you swing, swing, swing. But crucially, still short 800 points of damage.
When he's destroying the duo drive, everything is going to be fine. Look at that. We are, I think that's now how much
I need
missing?
400 more.
400 missing, but we are banishing a Malice monster here from the graveyard, which can then immediately come back and would definitely mark what we need. Yep, look at that White Binder ready to come back. Only 300 life points remaining for Gengi, but enough attack points on the field to possibly go for game here.
Yep, 300 more than 0 and more than Specimen is about to have. Spectre, sorry, is about to have.
Indeed, yeah. And there we go. It's a little bit of David against Goliath here, and David is up 2-0 now with also Gengi winning this game for SPP here. Impressive.
Yep, SPP moving to 2 against 0 on the board here as we do have Kyle Javi against Mordred. Mordred now looking to extend with that Memento strategy. We saw Memento take a win for SPP in Game 1. Can it do the same for BOB here? The field looks pretty cleared out. The Engraver's in the graveyard. It's having a good time. But Memento also likes being destroyed and likes coming back to the hand on top of that. Bone Party now added back for Mordred.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because I know Mordred is very big on the Malice deck and also plays a lot of Ryzeal since it is out in Master Duel. And now still seeing him being the Memento player of the team impresses me. But Mordred being... someone that can just play all the different decks. And there is a concede, and therefore we do still have it quite close and competitive here in this matchup with the score. And now, therefore, that's maybe not that great, but on the other hand, Forbidden Droplet is really strong against Detonator, and therefore the Ryzeal matchup can definitely be fine. The Malice matchup, Super Polymerization does more against because you definitely have some applications there. But let's see it in practice now, shall we? We do have SPP winning another coin toss here on our main Duel A, and on Duel C, we see just a couple of set cards there. It's not looking great for BOB here overall.
Kyle Javi now looking to resolve this Fiendsmith's track to look to go okay. You know, they'll add the Fable Lure, you have to imagine, discard it, get the free card on the field, and then be able to climb and extend from that point onwards.
And I love this because we didn't see much of it really in the last game, but this is not any kind of Fiendsmith deck here from Kyle Javi, but this is actually Unchained Fiendsmith, something you don't see every day. I think we looked through the decks.
Did you look at the deck list, or did you guess based on the mate?
I think I saw his deck list, yeah. Okay, the mate kind of gave it away as well, that's true. And I think they actually are the only Unchained play. Oh, and after the Droll and Lockbird, we have the triple tactic talents as well. Let's have a look all together. And we see double Impulse, another Droll and Lockbird, and the Dormouse. And in those situations, I feel like it's a no-brainer to just take the Dormouse.
Yeah,
right?
of course, you want to take the starter. Fix again. This time, got a starter, but this time it's going to be taken away. Well, you imagine. Yep, definitely will be the one to go. Does also give Kyle Javi the information that he needs to kind of play around the two impulses as well. Just, you know, you have to be conscious of the fact that this could come down at any time and run Disruption. Now we're going to have the Fiendsmith extra deck cards start to make an appearance. The Requiem is going to be first. That Link 1 card that will eventually bridge into being an effective equip spell for the fusion.
Yeah, but the cool thing here is that would be something you would always try to use Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring on. And Dominus Impulse oftentimes is used to a similar use as AIRPODS Majora Spring, but here in that particular case, you could not use the Impulse because there were no cards on the field when you used the effect of the Fiendsmith Requiem, as it is in the graveyard already at that point, and therefore you couldn't stop that. So the Fiendsmith engine is off to the races here for KaLJavi, which is for them really, 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 really good. Because we do get maybe even to a Caesar here in no time.
Engraver and Lacrima both on the field, soon to both be in the graveyard as the fusion will come through. Or the Link, I believe, is probably next in the step.
We can go both routes, really. We can go for a Necrocrypt line here immediately, just making Necrocrypt out of the Lacrima and the Requiem. The cool thing about just doing that is that you completely are unaffected by the Impulse, because the next thing you just do, there you have 2 level 6 monsters on the field, and they're both Fiends, and therefore you could just easily, immediately go into the Caesar, and you know your opponent just has no answer to the Caesar, and I like this a lot, playing around the Impulse that we know, and if you went for Sequence, probably they would have just always used the Impulse on the Sequence, and therefore just doing it like this is a lot safer, and I like it very, very much here from KaLJavi.
Yep, so DDD Wave Hiking Caesar going to be followed up by the Triple Tactics Thrust. We saw the Triple Tactics Talent lead things off. Now the Thrust will swiftly follow. Abomination's Prison. This is Unchained Fiendsmith, we mentioned. Hadn't seen too much from the Unchained components, but KaLJavi actually has the luxury of playing this one a little bit slower, taking a step back, because Fix is relying on whatever card has just come off the top of the deck, while KaLJavi knows for a fact he has a disruption for whatever that starter may be, if indeed it is a starter. Could be another draw, could be another disruption, could just not be what Fictinium needed at this moment in time.
Yeah, maybe he draws the Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries again, which didn't really help him on the first game, so could be another case of that. But that is looking really, really good. And you said it really right. KaLJavi can just take it slowly. Usually with Triple Tactic Thrust being resolved on the first turn, having to set a card because our opponent doesn't control any monsters anymore will lead to them set like an Infinite Impermanence or a defensive card that they can really use on their opponent's turn. But here there's no need for that.
Immediate end phase.
Yeah, there you go. And we use the Lacrima, the Crimson Tears already in the end phase. So we can bring that Requiem back to the field. Now we could technically use the Dominus Impulse on that, and I think it does make sense. We have 2 of them, so we may as well just use 1 here and 1 then on the next turn again.
Yeah.
That just does make so much sense, but still turn over to
bold of you to assume
again.
that there will be a next turn.
Yeah. I mean, this turn you could use it, right? So let's see whether we can get to that point. Have we drawn into any other Unchained cards? We don't even really need that, because clearly we have just set the Abomination's Prison, which we can then turn into any Unchained card from our deck to our hand. No response, of course. We cannot even really respond to that too much anymore, because we know most of the cards in their hand, but we're searching. Oh, hold on, though. Oh, now that they use the Impulse from the hand, they can't even use their Drawn and Lockbird anymore.
True.
So we are completely unaffected by that, too.
Unchained Twins Aruha now going to come to the hand, going to be activated as well.
Will destroy that set card. Is that another Unchained card which profits off of being destroyed here? In that regard, okay, we do use Impulse on that. I think that is pretty smart, honestly. But still, we haven't even normal summoned yet. So worst case, we can just normal out the Aurora too. Oh, and there's a response from KaLJavi. We're chaining the Chamber here in that case. So that is just still giving us an Unchained monster at the end of the day.
So I believe we're going to summon it from the hand.
From the graveyard. Wait, we can.
Hand or graveyard. So I think you take the one from
there's nothing in the graveyard.
Exactly
you're right. Yeah, for sure. So still finding the way to the field.
But Aruha, can we find our way to Yama with this card?
Oh, wow.
I guess we'll find our way to a victory anyway. I was looking forward to seeing Unchained Soul, Lord of Yama. As it turns out, SPP don't need it, as KaLJavi is able to make a comeback in his second game and put another win on the board for SPP here as we do move into our next game between Spec and Rikape.
And that looks a lot better than that first game looked for Spec, because that is really how you want to build your Ryziel field. You have the main interruptions. You have a Ryziel Detonator there actually with 3 materials. You have the Ryziel Cross also ready to negate. You have a couple of set cards as well. Still plenty of cards in the hand. This is very often or very usually how this field will look like.
You have negation, you have destruction, you have all the disruption you could ask for, but Memento has so many cards that it could very well play through it. Ryziel Plasma Hole actually going to come out here and going to interact with the memento cards. It's not highlighted, so I can't read its name, so not going to attempt it.
The Tatsunoko Shogo, you mean?
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, I always say it like that, and I
committed to
failed.
memory after,
I've failed plenty of times.
Say it with enough confidence and we're all good.
Exactly, that's what we're going to stick with. But
someone else that's confident is perhaps happening in Duel C. Whoever has just passed with 3 face down set.
And I mean, we talked about the impact of the super polymerization in some matchups, and I think we see the Earth Golem at Ignister on Duel C. That means there must have been a super polymerization resolved.
We see super polymerization resolve here as well.
Let's see this, Van. How are we going to do this? So there is a... How are we going to combine these? I'm curious. Okay, we're just going to use our monsters. That's fair, yeah.
Okay.
That works, that works.
So now the Plasma Hole has no real target.
Yeah. Target disappeared throughout the resolution of that super polymerization. So we can still now resolve the effect of Tatsunoko Chogo if we do not decide to negate it with the Rise Cross here. But, I mean, you're kind of okay with maybe destroying this Twin Dragon because then it can't activate its summon effect anymore. This is really a tough decision here for Spack, honestly. What is he going to do?
Still in a decent position, all things considered, though, because you are looking at a hand advantage and a massive field advantage. The only question is there a graveyard advantage? Because that's where the Memento deck truly comes alive.
Yeah, that is very interesting indeed. And we shall figure out whether... Oh, is he going to do something? Not sure.
Thinking.
He is really, really thinking this one. I mean, let's discuss the different
Rise
scenarios.
Cross now being activated. The field fell.
Do negate the fact. Interesting. Ooh. And now, oh, that's perfect. We detach the aggregator from the detonator, meaning now Chainlink 1 Twin Dragon.
You have another negation from the aggregator, yes. So obviously super, super valuable card when it comes to adding just another layer of disruption to the Rise strategy. But here is the Goblin Biker Grand Breakout. It's going to summon the Memento Goblin from the deck.
It's trying to, but there's Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring stopping that, and now it will come down to whether Recalpe has another Memento monster in hand, because technically the Twin Dragon can resolve. It will need to destroy something from the hand, though, and there is the Goblin in the hand already.
Wow.
So that is good news, because that means we can search for 2 Memento monsters now, straight from our deck. Right away, and that is going to be VT Kutlika.
Yep, Mentor to Kutlika, combined creation now added to the hand. We have 5 other Memento monsters with different names in the graveyard for sure. So perhaps we will see that actually come out. But still looking pretty good in terms of disruption from this Ryziel Detonator and the rest of the field.
Yeah.
Mystery face down as well. Never really feels good to face down, especially when you are on the back foot here. Sleepy going to be added to the hand. Again, just really looking good here. Mementotland Fusion, another fusion card being used here.
That's crazy. That was the last unknown card in their hand, and it's such a good one to have there at that moment. Interesting to me, though, Spack has been really, really careful about using the destruction effect from detonators so far. Has really decided not to do that a single time. I feel like whenever my opponent is activating the effect of Tatsunoko Shogo, for example, on the field, that's a good time to use it, but has decided to just keep it completely until this very moment. And maybe now then ready to tackle that fusion monster that is about to be summoned out here. That is, of course, going to be once more the Creation
Yes,
King.
indeed. Memento Miklin Tekutlika Creation King. But Ryziel Detonator going to swiftly answer that with another destruction effect.
That is good. Now meaning, though, that Recalpe does not really have to send another copy from the extra deck to the graveyard anymore, as this one is going to find its way into the graveyard anyways, and it does have a graveyard effect to also search for Memento Miklin, the so powerful field spell. In the meantime, on Duel C, I think I see another Access Code Talker finish, meaning we're actually onto a 4-1 score. So this game here right now could already be the last game of the entire series.
Yes, indeed. And we had BOB entering this as the favorite based on the fact we recognize the players. They're so well regarded, so renowned within the European scene, within the Challenger Cup scene.
Totally.
And yet here we are. Unchained Fiendsmith won its game, did its job. Can Recalpe now with the Memento deck replicate his success in game 1 and replicate his teammates' success in the other games here in this second set?
There is Vegatic now also getting the Bone Party into the hand as well. Rikape piloting this very, very, very nicely so far. But you still gotta wonder, what are those 4 cards in the hand from Spec? Is there maybe a Nibiru waiting? It would not be a surprise to me, because if you have those shared cards, and we are playing under the world rules, I think in one of your decks you want to include Nibiru for sure.
Maybe one in each.
Yeah, maybe one in each. That works as well, sure.
The Nibiru, the primal being you played against me earlier, really hurt my feelings.
We had a little preparation match before the tournament.
I took Link Spider out of my deck just before then, and now I'm like, okay, I might put it back in, but you know, the extra deck is tight, and indeed the extra deck is what is making the difference here for the Ryziel deck, detaching again to get the destruction again on the Memento Mictlan.
And that will hurt, because you want to have that card to generate more monsters to just keep on summoning stuff from the graveyard. We do still have, of course, though, the Combined Creation in the graveyard waiting there to come out and attack some more monsters. And be reminded, if it is the only monster on your side of the field, it can even attack all of your opponent's monsters. So we would have to get rid of the Gatic beforehand somehow.
I'm sure we can find a way to destroy a Memento monster.
Yeah, surely. I do agree. That's definitely not the hardest task. We have the Bone Party in the hand already, so that could take care of that. But let's see how Rikape decides. He's like, we really talked about the fact that the Ryziel field was as good as it usually gets. There also, of course, Graveyard effect from Total Fusion can destroy the Gatic right away. Keeps the field clear in terms of monsters after this card resolves.
Gonna add a Spell Trap to the hand as well to further extend here. It is another Memento Fusion, and we could very well see that access the extra deck some more. Akihiron now going to resolve in the graveyard to special summon itself back. This is also the card that allows for the direct attacks if necessary, so there is a path forward for Rikape here. And importantly, no more materials on this detonator and no more disruption from the aggregator in the graveyard.
Absolutely. Rikape now has resolved that on-field effect of Akihiron, so we would be able to attack directly. But getting to 8,000 will not be that easy of a task here, I feel like.
And then Totland Bone Party going to be used here.
Bone Party shall destroy the Akihiron, so also the other graveyard effect will be activated here from Akihiron, so we can recycle resources. So even if Rikape is not able to close out this game here on this turn, I feel like we are about to set up a decent field here for ourselves and breaking the opponent's field. In the process of it, speaking of breaking the field, we could use the summon effect from Darkblade here. Discards the fusion, which we cannot activate this turn anymore anyhow, to go after the back row.
Spell Trap card and hopefully clear a path to victory here for Rikape. The Memento cards are activating in the graveyard, but here is the plugin being used here.
Yeah, that may as well have not been too much of a surprise. Maybe both players actually knew about this one, because that is usually a card you do search with the duo drive here in the Ryziel strategy. And we only jumped into this game after the first turn was already concluded. So I feel like that certainly was something that probably the players were aware of. And we do bring back the extra Ryziel here from the graveyard. And we do also
get a material on the detonator as well.
That is what just happened there. So you see Detonator again with one material, and we get the Memento Mictlan back into the hand. Now, could immediately be answered again as well, though. So let's see how that is going to progress here. Ryziel is special summoned, and it doesn't matter whether it's your turn or your opponent's turn. As long as there is nothing but level or rank 4 monsters on the field, you do get to search for another Ryziel monster, as we just saw there. This is intense. And this is also dangerous, because that now marks another monster on the field. And we talked about the fact that the Combined Creation can attack every monster on the opponent's side of the field as long as it is the only monster in the field. If you combine that with the Memento Bone Party Graveyard effect, which gives you piercing damage on one monster on your side of the field, that could mean now, hold on, how much damage would that be? That would be 2,000 over the Detonator, 3,000 over the... I think we would be 500 short, but that would still be quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, not bad, but it does also kind of make me a little bit afraid of Beck's 5 cards in hand, because it does mean there's a chance of follow-up and full commitment on the next turn.
Totally.
But still, if Rikape can navigate through this, through that ideal Ryziel end field, it's such a great comeback and such a great position to be in, really showing off the prowess here. But here is Sleepy.
That could just be another Creation King. And then we have activated the effect of Akihiron to attack directly this turn with the combined Creation and the Creation King. So I think we have the setup here. If there is no answer from Spag, this might be one of those cheeky memento finishes where you just attack directly while your opponent still has a field. This is massive.
Can we get the combined Creation back from the graveyard onto the field?
It's happening. It's happening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all you need to get that big, impressive 5,000 attack point monster onto the field.
Memento Tekutlika combined Creation.
Oh, end of main phase. The Nibiru would be needed here, but there is no Nibiru. I think this marks the end of this duel. And also, oh, hold on though. Graveyard effect of Ryziel Plasma Hole. Let's not forget about that. We can exceed summon. Oh, but we do use the effect of our combined Creation here to get rid of the
Extra Ryziel.
And that means I don't think... Oh, okay. But we chain the detonator. I think we're for the moment saving ourselves here because we get rid of one of the monsters that we're ready to attack directly here.
Yeah.
Huge detonator saving the day here and saving the team for the moment as well.
You were so excited for that. You love Memento.
Yes, and I love when it finishes in that unique way of just attacking over a field directly.
There's an Exceed Summon.
Ooh, what are we going into here? That is the...
Superstar Slayer, Typhon, Sky Crisis. If ever there were a single card to kind of buy time, make a comeback, this would be it. Now ready to run Disruption, but here we go. Memento Mictlan going to activate Rikape. No cards in hand, no Disruption. Spec, can you make that full commitment and close this one out before the Memento is able to have another turn?
So many cards in hand, and we saw that there is follow-up ready, of course, as well for Spec, because we searched that with the extra Ryziers. So
7 Tachyon.
Even more of that now. We get all the Ryziers in the world. We can basically pick now which ones we want to go for.
I actually like how many different numbers toolbox are being added to the extra deck of the Ryziel.
That's crazy.
Shout out to anyone that uses Ragnar Zero. I really like that card. But yeah, just really, really great to see just how many options this deck can go with. Especially considering that it has such reliable access to all of these rank 4 Xyz monsters. Now, Ice Ryziel going to come out. In turn, it will bring out the Star Ryziel. Suddenly, you have a level 4 and level 4. That gives you access to more rank 4s. That gives you the trigger on the Ryziel Cross. Ryziel doing Ryziel things with no regard for any kind of disruption from Rikape. It's an empty hand. It's soon to be an empty life point counter if this Ryziel deck can continue to do its
Typhon
thing.
Says
there
goodbye.
is the Typhon sending back that Creation King to the Fusion deck and presumably sending Rikape to 0 life points and sending BOB to a third set of games in this match.
Attack directly. I have to still go in there, and then sometimes you just your brain just turns off, and he just activated that effect that he did not need to activate.
Yes, indeed.
Game free.
But importantly, SPP still just one single game away from winning. 2 face downs away from winning this game, apparently, is Ficht. Finally, does he have a great hand to start things off? And is it indeed his opponent that has not had a good run of things? Because Ficht so far, quite unlucky with how he started off both of these games.
And we see a 7th Tachyon and Duel B. Oh, Ficht is also setting a card, but for the Malice deck, that's not necessarily a
the
bad
Gold
sign.
Sarcophagus, great start as well. It does get you the free Banish, the free Extension, and the free Commitment with any card you want from your deck. No Ash Blossom immediately does mean that's already a great start. The Dormouse going to proc, going to start things off. It's as good a start as ever for the Malice deck.
And the Dormouse will come out here, and we're thinking for a response. Dominus Impulse being used by Gengi here, so I think we find ourselves here in a Malice on Malice situation. I think both teams have their Malice players facing off against each other here, and clearly Gengi did not have the start that they wanted, but there's a normal summon for Victinium as well, being the White Rabbit. I think you just have to take the gamble there on Gengi's side to use the Impulse on the banishment effect of Dormouse, but in the end, that's not going to do too much here. Let's be realistic. And I mean, we can really cool. It's really cool to see here. The team BOB always is on the bottom, and all of them are playing right now. So I think even
Infinite Permanence actually going to follow up. Speaking of really cool, perhaps this is less cool for Team BOB.
This could be dangerous though, because there's a set card and there is GWC ready to dodge that Infinite Impermanence. That is always something to consider. They did not set that card there for no reason, so that Infinite Impermanence actually does not do anything here. So simultaneously on all three tables, we see Team BOB, after being down 4-1, may be able to pull it back here.
May very well be indeed. Looks to be in an okay position here. We saw the Ryziel detonator on that Duel B. We see Memento doing Memento things on Duel C too, as the Malice deck come through for Ficht here.
Let's see. I think Ficht can just go wherever he wants to go. The Dominus Impulse was set on the field of Genji, meaning there could still theoretically be a Nibiru the Primal Being in their hand, ready to be activated, because that restriction of Dominus Impulse is not applying when it was set beforehand. But we shall see. Dora Mouse activates now. Yeah, well, we stopped the banishment effect, so the on-field effect was not interactive with the hold, but there's still something. This is interesting. What kind of... Okay, it could be Effect Veiler. Very well. Okay, you stop this. Sure. There's already 2 Cyber's monsters on the field. And there's also called by the grave.
Despite all of these disruptions being committed by Genji, Ficht just has the answer for it every single time. You may stop this Malice deck from resolving its effects, but it's still going to find a way in the end.
Ooh, hold on. There's another response window now, though. What could this be? Maybe a Ghostbound Haunted Mansion?
Cross-out Designator, perhaps, as well?
I mean, are you going to cross out your own Called by the Grave now? I don't think that's going to happen.
Maybe not, yeah.
So, very curious what this even could be here. I mean, it's probably not going to be Maxi either, as we would have definitely seen that before. It is Bestial Magnamut. Okay. Interesting.
That is essentially a free banish on the graveyard card, and it does mean that you get a body to run Disruption too.
Yeah, but...
A little bit apprehensive to banish anything from your opponent's graveyard when they're playing Malice too.
I think the key thing about this here is, though, we are banishing the Effect Veiler from the graveyard to make it not be affected by the Call by the Grave anymore.
So it'll then resolve, hopefully, but there we do have another Malice trap card being activated. MTP
07, and that is maybe also what Genji is thinking right now, because that plan... Getting that Effect Veiler to resolve. Yes, it will resolve technically, but the target is no longer there, and therefore it will have no real impact. And as you were also mentioning, Maxi now also resolved for Victinium. After not really getting anything going in the first 2 games, it looks like finally this game is the game of Victinium.
Yep, refuses to go winless in this game and refuses to go out this early in the tournament for BOB here. Now, Ficht, the ball is in his court. This is his turn. He can continue to extend. There's 1 card in hand for Genji. What can Ficht do?
That is the question. And we have the luxury to just use Ash Blossom and Joy Spring here on the Bestial Magnamut. Don't even need it for a Maxi, because that would have clearly been activated beforehand. And therefore, we can just now say, hey, you're already really low on resources, so I will keep you on that low. And you will, even if we get to that end phase even, then not even get the replacement of another dragon from our deck.
Yeah, looking to have the full commitment here from the Malice deck here. Ficht looking to close this one out. You know, I do see a way that the access code talker eventually comes through to close it out pretty cleanly. Still a few steps away from getting there, but definitely something that Ficht can do. The other decks, the other games, look to be going okay for the duelists of BOB as well. But this series is still very much anyone's to claim. SPP, they only need 1 single win out of the 3 duels on your screen right now.
And speaking of that, we just see a Forbidden Droplet in Duel B. And Forbidden Droplet, as I was mentioning, is actually really, really good against the Ryziel deck. And there is a Detonator ready to be negated by that Forbidden Droplet there, which is, I think, huge and definitely a possible way to play through that field with ease. It's nice. So that series definitely, absolutely not decided yet. And there is also an Ash Blossom there on the Requiem now, though. Wow, what a chain we have in Duel B there. That's crazy. In the meantime, we still see Splash Mage bringing back the White Rabbit. There is Nibiru the Primal Being as the last card in hand, though, for Genji. Hold on, this could change things up now again.
Yep, as good a card as any. In fact, a great card as any here, as the Nibiru the Primal Being does come out. It will give 2 draws to the Maxi, but it's still a way forward for Genji as he empties out his hand. If Ficht can find a way over this, though, that is it. That is the game for him, you have to imagine. But what exactly did you draw off of the Maxi?
I mean, Gengi down to 0 cards in hand as well. Even if this means the turn is over, Gengi will just rely on that one top deck, and Victinium, if there is no play now left to continue playing, certainly there is something to stop the opponent, I would imagine. But we shall find out. Considering his options right now, we could always just turn this Nibiru token into a Link Spider, allowing ourselves to already have a Cyber's monster on the field. Let's see whether we want to go down that route. And in the meantime, I think Mordred on Duel C is finally enjoying his Memento deck a whole lot there, because we see Appaloosa, we see the Combined Creation, and 4 set cards as well.
Yeah, got the Appaloosa as the insurance policy against a potential Nibiru the Primal Being. Heavy Storm, gonna run interference on that line of spell and trap cards, plus the field spell. That is such a high value Heavy Storm, if indeed it can resolve. I think this is actually Memento Mirror Match, by the way, but I don't often see Memento using the Heavy Storm in the main deck. Perhaps this is a regulation tech where they're seeing, look, we have limited options, we have extra space in an otherwise, you know, pretty tight main deck.
Yeah, for sure.
To be able to put in some of these less common tech options.
See that for sure. And actually, in Duel A, as we still see on the screen, we actually, after 1 set card, passed to Nibiru. Now we only top deck the card that we can set here. So looks like Victinium will comfortably get another turn here. In the meantime, we still saw that Heavy Storm animation there, clearing everything in terms of spell and trap cards. We're off the field. Massive.
Mordred not only playing Memento, but using the Sky Striker Ace Ray sleeves. Definitely, you know, Josh is here, so he's very happy to see that on both counts.
I mean, we all are, right? Both of us are also rocking the jacket here. Definitely, certainly one of my most favorite decks of all time as well. And now we see Victinium getting that chassis card out as chassis cat out as well. Druid's Worm
it is a card, to be fair.
Yeah,
and you know what else is a card? Bestial Druid's Worm. Again, we said it was maybe a little bit greedy to banish something from your opponent's graveyard, but when it's not a Malice card, you're fine, and you're very happy to establish such a big field against, again, what you said would have to be a top deck from Gengi here.
That is true. So Victinium now using the effect of Chassis Cat for a second time this duel already. When this card just resolves multiple times, it feels like your Malice opponent is just running away with it, because we now at this point have drawn 4 cards off of Chassis Cat.
We see a Super Star Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis in Duel C. It is the emergency card. When everything else is backs against the wall, you have that as the insurance to be able to hold the line against whatever the opponent plays.
Yeah, but it was taken control of by Memento Maze from Mordred's side, and still after that Heavy Storm, it was enough. We could withstand the push from Rikape, and play is back to us. How's our follow-up looking like now? We probably have a fusion in the graveyard. There it is. That's huge, because we will be able to search for another fusion from our deck here.
Yep, hopefully we do find a way to the Creation King, and Mordred can create a victory here and keep his team in the tournament as well as in the game right now. But Memento Fusion is going to be the first step towards that. Akihiron in the graveyard now going to special summon itself back. The Appaloosa is still there, ready to prevent the Typhon from resolving its effect and disrupting further. But it's a game of back and forth. Who is going to make that first move? Who is going to get disrupted? Is it going to be Rikape or is it going to be Mordred? Because right now the onus is on Mordred and the Appaloosa is on Mordred's side of the field. So he's looking pretty good in terms of disruption available. But access code Talker looking pretty good in that other Malice mirror match on the top of your screen in Duel A.
Yeah, that's true. And
that's going to close that game out. You have to imagine. Always access code Talker.
Definitely.
Spells the end of that one. It spelled the end of the Nibiru. It will allow the access to the Heart Scripter as well. That is a combined 7,800.
That is it. More than enough. Doubles the attack points of the Heart Scripter and goes for enough damage to bring us here to a 4-3 score. Victinium now finally has done his duty and has done his homework and has won the first game for himself. Score is on 4-3. And the cool thing about the Appaloosa is You sometimes might be worried, okay, I have already used one of my negations from Appaloosa because originally that one was on 3,200 attack points with 4 materials being used. But here actually, you're happy that you already used it once because now you can still use the effect even though the Typhon is on the field. If you would have not used it once, that would have been kind of miserable. But here, it's perfect actually.
Yep, now this is anyone's series to claim here. BOB, they entered this. They needed to win all 3. They may very well still, but here is Goblin Biker grand breakout, ready to run rampant here and ready to get the Goblin from Rikape's deck and allow access to more Memento cards here for this deck. Here we go. Goblin emerges from the deck. Can it do anything aside from sit there in defense position? No more Typhon, no more Disruption. Still 3 negations on the Appaloosa, the Bow of the Goddess as well.
And I mean, it's the turn of Mordred, and therefore that Goblin, as you were asking, doesn't do much more than looking pretty there because it is only an effect that you can use on your own turn, and therefore I don't think it does too much. Besides maybe being a Memento monster instead of not being a Memento monster. That could be relevant for cards like Mementoland Fusion or Mementoland Bone Party to work together with those cards. But besides that, the Goblin on its own, really not able to use its effect right now.
Appaloosa, so brutal for the Memento to deal with because so much of this deck is just monster effects, honestly. It's really, really rough. And especially, you know, in the mirror match, having to deal with the fact that super polarization can indeed create a lot of advantage for your opponent on both sides, to be fair. Yeah, really, really well played by Mordred to come back here and show that he has control, at least, of the Memento mirror match. There is the Tatsu no well...
Almost. Tatsu no Tochichogo,
I almost got to read that before the Memento Mixland was able to extend Mordred's combat.
I hope we're going to see some more of Tatsuno Shogo throughout the tournament, and then we can together learn it. And now
I'm sure Josh can say it at least.
Yes, totally. I'm 100% sure. And then Toadland Sleepy next. We are trying to fusion summon further. This is the round of the ultimate mirror matches, right? We have the Malice mirror on the one table, which of course is already over, and now we have the Memento mirror here on this one as well. And it would be quite impressive if Team BOB is able to come back from that disadvantage of being down 4-1 and still getting through this. That would be stuff that champions are made of, honestly. If you start into the tournament like that, you are equipped for everything, I think.
Memento Mictlan Tekutlika Creation King now comes out. Its effect resolves. The Gatic goes to the graveyard, comes back out of the graveyard, is special summoned, is another body on the field, ready and waiting to extend this Memento play from Mordred. The sequence is great. Everything looks great. The Appaloosa still alive and well, ready to run rampant with 3 disruptions if Rikape tries to stop this.
That's true. And now the interesting thing there on Duel B as well is we said there is a really, really, really good turn with the Ryziel deck setting up a good field, but the Unchained deck doing really, really good work. As we can see, the Detonator negated all of the other cards on the field and in the hand gone.
Typhon?
Now one Typhon may be left to hold onto the Access Code target that is about to be summoned. Still, the overall situation looking really, really decent here for Kyle Javi and his Unchained deck.
Yep, there we go. There is a Link summon, as you mentioned, the Unchained Soul, Lord of Rage now coming out. Unchained Soul of Rage, rather.
Yeah.
Lord of Yama, where are you? In the extra deck, but not for much longer. You have to imagine that will be a future step for this deck as a destruction effect comes through. Yama was already in the graveyard, not even in the extra deck. It's ready, it's waiting, and it is resolving here. Nothing left in hand or on field aside from the Superstar Slayer, Typhon, Sky Crisis for Spec. It's a bounce, it's a removal from the field, but there's so much field to deal with here from Kyle Javi.
This is impressive. BOB really in this third set doing everything they can to possibly turn it back into their favor. And they're about to make it a 4-4 score with Mordred really doing well at Duel C. But then in the end, Kyle Javi with the unpopular pick of playing Unchained Fiends of here in this tournament might be the deciding factor as he has successfully broken the Ryziel field here from Spectre and is about to deal with the last monster on their side of the field. This is looking pretty for them.
Yep, gonna swing for 2,000 here. We do have Moltra taking this down, taking it to a 4-4 score. BOB still in the tournament, but for how much longer? KyleJarvi able to topple down the Superstar Slide Typhon Sky Crisis, able to end this turn with a clear field, clear hand for Spec. Spec, what did you draw? A 1-card starter, a 1-card salvation to keep your team's tournament alive? Or is this it? KyleJarvi in such good position, but there's Ice Ryziel.
That's like the card you want to have. Speaking of 1-card starters, that is a really, really good 1-card starter for the Ryziel deck. Kind of all of them are good to start with, but this is certainly one you want, Sword Ryziel. And if KyleJarvi has no interruption to this, this just means all kind of rank 4 monsters, or first of all level 4 monsters, and then eventually rank 4 monsters flying onto the field. But I think we do have one thing that we have to consider is there must be the chamber set, that's the trap card, that can bring back the Unchained Soul of Rage. So that can be a factor we will have to consider, I feel like. We just have to figure out a way on when to use that the most efficient.
Yeah, there is a disruption, granted not your most kind of traditional. Plus, we do have an unknown card in hand, I believe. So
I think that's an Unchained monster. We recycled that with the Unchained Soul of Rage.
Ah, true enough, yeah.
Oh, but that is immediately now the rank 4.
Into a rank 4, as you said. Is it Time V3 Doer? Is it Dugaris the Timeless? No, it's another classic. It's Evil Swarm Exciton Knight.
That's
I think
huge.
This carried me in Time Travel 2014, by the way.
But this is super interesting because you got to realize Exciton Knight destroys cards on the field. Unchained monsters want to be destroyed by card effects, so even though for the moment we're going to destroy all of those monsters, I feel like they're going to replenish themselves now.
Definitely very, very good at
fashion.
recurring here, and it does mean that we do have KyleJarvi able to make some kind of a comeback here. Unchained Soul Unchained Soul of Rage. I did it again. I really love Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, if you couldn't tell. But Unchained Soul of Shavara, another key card in this combo.
There we go, activating both of them because they were for the Unchained Soul of Rage destroyed and for the Shavara sent to the graveyard. So we get one monster back to the hand and then a set card. Problem being here with this does nothing on this turn. So if Spectre is able to close it out here in this very turn, he is ready to win it for his team. And he does still have that X Ryziel in the hand that we just searched, so sometimes Ryziel can have a problem with closing out games, especially, of course, when there is Exciton Knight resolving because there is no battle damage in this turn.
We saw quite a big commitment, even if it was very impressively dealt with by KyleJarvi, so it does mean we weren't able to send the aggregator there off of the X because we were running out of options. And it does mean that we're now looking at a field state where, you know, you have Spec just seeing what he can do with what he had before.
Yeah. I think we're definitely going to set up a Detonator. But again, Detonator is a card that is amazing against so many different decks. Against the Unchained deck specifically, though,
It likes being destroyed.
it's not that great because it really kind of helps the deck as well in that regard. Now there's Ryziel Duo Drive, able to attach another material, being another Duo Drive here. So it's a Duo Drive up top and also a Duo Drive as another material in there. And that is going to allow us to add 2 Ryziel cards from deck to the graveyard. And I think, yeah, we missed Ryziel Cross on our field on the first turn, so it was still in our deck, and now we have a way to access it, which is fantastic news. Speaking of news, let me give you the news that there also is only a little over 4 minutes remaining on this round, meaning oh, wow, there's no more time needed here. What is going on?
So I believe